Hello YouTube. As you may know, Traxxas has released waterproof versions of the Stampede, the Bandit, and the Rustler VXL. There's been some question as to whether these cars are actually waterproof. I have looked at the instruction manuals for the brushed waterproof cars that Traxxas sells and the brushless cars that Traxxas sells. And there is some fine print associated with being waterproof. They are very water resistant, or at least the motors are. The steering servo, the receiver with the proper receiver box, and the ESCs I'm not worried about. They say they're waterproof and I believe them. However, they did not make a special motor to go with the waterproof electronics. And I looked at the care for motors, and as it turns out, in the new instruction manuals there's a section called driving your car in wet conditions. So I will try to summarize the important parts of those instructions, and I do have them in front of me. First, before you drive your car, you have to properly set up the receiver box, and there are very good instructions on how to do that. I don't have one, I can't give you any insight. Secondly, I'd suggest driving your car when it's dry and making sure everything else works. Third, if you're going to be driving aggressively in water or mud or snow, you need to gear the car down. Water creates a lot of resistance, and without the proper gearing, the motor could overheat easier than if it was dry. If the motor is wet, it is easier for it to overheat. In the instruction manuals for both brushed and brushless cars, they do say do not submerge your car in water. They don't say it will kill the motor, they say it will dramatically reduce the life. It also says if you do submerge your car, do not apply full throttle, as that can damage the motor. Go very slow until you're not submerged, let the water drain out, and then continue driving. Pre-assembled Traxxas tires have a hole on the inside of the wheel, the plastic wheel, to let air go in and out of the tire. Before you drive your car, Traxxas recommends you drill two 1/8 inch holes in either side of your tire in the center line. And you drill those holes so when you're driving your tire on a dry surface, water can be pulled out by inertia. Traxxas also mentioned that not all batteries can be used in wet conditions. I don't know what batteries can and can't. When you're finished driving in water, Traxxas recommends getting the water out of your tires by driving at high speeds on dry surfaces. Getting mud and dirt off the car with a low pressure water source. A hose that's not just running water, not like spraying it. It doesn't recommend spraying it because you could spray water into the transmission or into the bearings. The bearings, you have to oil them after you go in water. If you think that water might be in your transmission, it's not a bad idea to take it apart, look at the transmission, re-grease it, make sure that's not rusting. One thing Traxxas is very explicit about, and I agree with this, is do not run your model in ocean water. Ocean water will destroy your car much faster than any other fresh water. It even says don't even drive it in gaps between fresh water and salt water where it could be salty water. Sand is fine, except you might get sand in the transmission and you might get sand in the bearings. Other than that, you can pretty much rinse it off. If all the rest of if your car is waterproof and you're driving in sand, you can just spray it down, get all the sand off, let it dry, and it's going to be fine, unless you get sand in the transmission or the bearings. It says increase your frequency of the following maintenance things after running in water. And it says cleaning your motor cleaning your transmission and cleaning your bearings. So if you were in a lot of water and it was like dirty water, you might want to clean all your bearings, and I'd say especially your motor. Traxxas says you only need to clean your motor every 10 to 15 times. My brother bought motor cleaner, and his said to clean it every 3 runs. So pick your number. The more the better, I'd say. So when I went in water, I took the transmission apart. That was fine, but I just wanted to check it. Plus, I had never taken apart the Magnum transmission, so that was interesting. I took off some of the bearings, soaked them in WD-40, and I cleaned the bearings on my motor. And I cleaned the sand off all the plastic parts. That's about it. I didn't really do too much more, and to my knowledge, all of it's still functioning correctly. I don't have it with me right now, but that's a different story. That's it.
I'm out of time and all I got is 4 minutes. 4 minutes, eh?